This production of Euripides' Orestes was the initiative of the Oxford Ancient Languages Society, which is a student group at Oxford, a collection of students and academics devoted to promoting the engagement with and study of ancient languages. Well, certainly would be the case.
It's a very interesting and exciting group of people. We speak ancient languages, which are very mainly Latin and ancient Greek. The more you practice a language and the more you think about the vocabulary you're going to use, then the more you can understand the text.
And for a long time now, we've been wanting to stage a production of an ancient drama. And we made the decision to go for Euripides' Orestes. One very important reason is the music. And we know that the lyric meters of tragedy were accompanied by the aulos, the ancient double pipe with two reeds. Crucially, also, we have Callum Armstrong, our wonderful aulit, who is a really virtuosic performer and specialist in this instrument. There are very few in the world, but he is one of the best. We have, for the Orestes in particular, some indications about how it might have been sung. We even have a papyrus fragment, and contains a few lines of the second chorus with ancient musical notation, which we can understand.
And so what we wanted to do was learn from that fragment as much as we could and sort of use that and incorporate what we learned from that.
So to create this music, I worked together with Beth Parker to write a musical score interacting with the text and seeing how the music can reflect the sense, as well as using these various different musical features that we know were distinctive of Euripides.
So it starts, Dromedes o hopteroporo hypotni hadestei.
It was absolutely wonderful working with Callum. He brought so much expertise to the project. For example, in Euripides' day, we think that they would have used quarter tones. Those are tones between the smallest step of Western scales, which is the semitone.
Wait, you've got these quarter tones, right?
Yeah.
Don't be scared of the quarter tones. The quarter tones are the interesting bit, right? So the quarter tones need to be stressed, yeah? And it's also a very nice way to sort of propel yourself up. So,
But a really interesting part of singing with this aulos as well was to think about how he would accompany different sections of my song. So sometimes he would double the melody with at least one of the pipes, or sometimes both. Sometimes he would just hold a drone, sometimes he would play chords.
Another thing we were really keen to do to get even closer to the ancient impression of performance is to use masks. Now, we know that masks were used in ancient drama from all sorts of sources.
For example, what we find on some vases, the actors are actually holding their masks. So we do know that they used masks, and we know that these were full head masks that included hair.
We had a brilliant and very dedicated worker on these called Jacinta Hunter, who herself looked at the ancient depictions and who took all of this research to create masks that would look as close as possible to what we see on the vases. Jacinta came to rehearsals with prototypes of these masks, and we tried them on and saw how they sounded, how they looked.
Putting on the mask on for the first time was quite a surreal experience because firstly you lose a lot of peripheral vision and you lose a bit of hearing as well because it's blocking the ears. And this made acting something sort of quite different to what any of us had experienced. It becomes a much more sort of full body experience because you don't have expressions and changes of expression.
In antiquity, masks had various roles. They were clearly a very ancient part of the performance of tragedy, but they also had a practical significance. That is, they usually only had 3 speaking actors on the Athenian stage who would switch masks and play all the principal roles. You have a few silent actors who also wear masks. And that's a crucial aspect of the practicalities of ancient drama. Okay. Is it possible to put the extra staging down on the floor there while you're doing this? We staged the performance at the O'Reilly Theatre of Keble College, Oxford, with a production staff drawn from student volunteers. Our staging was fairly simple, with the intention not to provide too many elements that would distract from the drama or add anachronistic elements to the staging. It's this way and then that way, right?
Left and right.
Yeah.
Left and then right.
Fine. Authenticity is much debated nowadays, but the aim of this production was simply to get as close as we can to an ancient performance. So we followed a scholarly method, trying to build on research and do our own thinking about the text and its interpretation to lead towards a dramatic performance.
The play was performed for 5 sellout performances, which was very exciting and rewarding at the same time. We were hoping that the audience would get closer to what the experience of watching a play in 408 BC would have been.
Usiga pesa, tu zguneki juz gouster ksesta krantenta. Oltramenta dalomos.
Kai pasio po. Kengo sesorante utot uket hemin toista lai porais meta.
Sumema pukten, hali suparge askirostek dekotlemon. Ta de paronte akaka.
O meleos hebeste soresta. Kai potmu chanatuta oru. Stena kren.
Putting on this play was a great opportunity for us, I think, to understand not only what makes Euripides unique as a dramatist, but also what makes the Orestes a unique play among the plays of Euripides. And there are all kinds of elements in it which are unusual, whether metrically or having to do with the plot or the characterization. For example, there's the culminating messenger speech at the end. It comes from an actor in the drama, one of the Phrygian slaves who leaps from the palace and in a frenzy sings an absurd virtuoso song in a sort of piled-on poetic style. And it's hard to know what to do with this. In much of the commentary, there's a suggestion that Euripides was joking with all of these baroque elements. Was he winking at the audience? Was he deliberately subverting expectations? I think this goes for the end also, when Apollo comes down from the sky, and in a speech of 40 lines, he solves the whole thing in one fell swoop.
The god who appears, Apollo, reverses the whole course of events as they had been proceeding up to now. We had an expected finish and it's completely turned around.
Is this a joke, the Deus Ex Machina? But I think to say that does not take away at all from the power of the god appearing on the stage, and I think that certainly would have been felt by an ancient audience.
How should we understand this? Who knows? We should leave it up to you, the audience, to watch and decide for yourselves.